I thought I had good branding, good messaging, a good market differentiator amongst my SEO competitors, and then I got a nice swift kick in the butt and realized I didn't. And that helped me craft messaging. It helped me create a system of predictable revenue, of referrals, of lead generation, inbound marketing,
Nice.
content.
Good day, Unleashers. Today I'm interviewing a very special guest. His name is Jason Berkowitz. So Jason is the founder and the SEO director of a great company called Break the Web. So Break the Web is a search marketing agency that focuses heavily on search engine optimization and paid advertising. So Jason's career in the SEO world dates back to 2010. So yes, he has been doing this for a long time. So he knows the struggle with the same issue as many, many businesses, and that is bringing in new leads and revenue. So his journey led Jason to find the SEO algorithm and open up a paradigm shift into the world of marketing.
Doing great, Joy. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming onto the show. I really appreciate your time. This is fantastic. Can you tell people a little bit about your journey and who you are and who's Jason?
Well, I am a weird SEO marketing nerd that loves algorithms, data,
Yeah.
as well as some good whiskey and skydiving and traveling. So that's my current what is Jason, I guess. But of
Yes.
course, wasn't always like that.
Now, before we recorded, I commented on the Thor Hammer behind you. And that is like one of the coolest things I've seen. I'm a geek with those type of things. So do you mind showing people your hammer? I just think
Yeah.
it's so cool.
So our copywriter, Jess from Verve and Vigor, came up with this tagline. Our brand is Break the Web. And she came up with a great tagline, don't just break the web, smash it to smithereens. And
Awesome.
what else would you smash other than using Thors Hammer specifically?
It's just brilliant. I think it's such a great entry point to your business and what you guys do. So how did this whole journey come about in 2010? How did it unfold for you?
So I was in a completely different industry. I was in the fitness world in New York City, working as a personal trainer.
Mm-hmm.
And working as a trainer, it's hard because it's extremely competitive. And I was looking for ways to create a differentiation out there in the market,
Mm-hmm.
as well as not like butt heads with people trying to close a new client. So I thought, okay, how can I try and get people to come to me? There has to be people who are going to Google looking for a personal trainer in NYC. How do I do it? And of course, SEO was just very, very different back then.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bunch of different Google searches, connecting with people in the space already, getting some mentorships. And at the time, I was able to rank the website that I had at #1 for personal trainer
That's
NYC.
amazing.
It was. And then,
Yeah.
of course, Google became a lot more advanced. So it didn't last that long. But thankfully,
Yeah.
I was able to have, like you said, the paradigm shift in a way
Yeah.
that I no longer had interest in training. And then SEO and that puzzle and the challenge of search marketing became the new obsession. So transitioned over.
And it's so amazing that you got to rank at #1, especially in such a competitive industry, right? Because the fitness is just so competitive to be in that. That is really, really
Yeah.
cool. So now you obviously moved out of being a fitness trainer. When did you actually decide, like, I'm done now with this, I'm going to focus on the SEO and build my company? How did that come around?
I fully left training when I was able to more than double my income as a trainer,
Yeah.
plus try to maintain the health benefits as long as possible until they caught on and realized that I wasn't really training much. And then I eventually left. It was a corporate gym I was working at, but I also was trying to build at that time a personal training side business and maybe even train people in their apartments in New York City or bring them to the gym, whatever it was. I ended up selling the personal training business actually quite early on. I really had no longer of an interest in that
Yes.
space.
Yes.
And at the time, there was freelancing websites like Elance and
Yes.
Odesk, which is now all owned by Upwork,
Yes.
which all became Upwork. And I started getting clients on there. I ranked a website, which is still ranking today, actually, SEOservicesNewYork.org, an exact match domain. And it's still ranking for a bunch of New York SEO terms, but right now it acts as kind of a lead generation website for us.
Yeah.
But that was the goal, trying to get people to come to me, practice what you preach, and rank for New York SEO terms. And then once I felt stable to go into that world of entrepreneurship, which is never stable. It's an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah. It goes like that, right? So
Yeah.
what is your number? Okay, so obviously you're a geek with these things. This is, this is not just your bread and butter. You actually love it. You've got a passion for it. So what is the number one thing? So this show is for people that are starting out, or they're struggling, or they already have established businesses, but they're just a little bit stuck. And we all know how important websites are. So what is the number one hack that you would give somebody to get their website to either rank or just to get some more searchable things on it?
At this moment, Google has become a bit more advanced, so it's not
Yeah.
really necessarily a specific tactic or number one thing.
Yeah.
If it would be a number one thing, I would say just build a brand. Build a
Yes.
brand the same way any new business would build an online presence,
Yeah.
and just build off that.
Yes. I love the cat. Is that a cat? Did I hear a cat?
No, my dog. I accidentally stepped on him.
Jason.
He's fine.
I've got a Jack Russell, and I'm also just waiting for him to make a noise. So I get that.
Yeah.
What struggles have you faced in your journey? What has been the biggest struggle?
In entrepreneurship, probably shiny objects. I think overall, there's a lot of people, especially in education, and a lot of people that can promise the world, like, sign up for my course and I'll show you how to do X, Y, Z. There's a lot of shiny objects and people who are preaching shortcuts to get success. I think that would be my biggest thing is just avoiding shortcuts and those shiny objects and distractions. That at the end of the day, you have to put in the hours, you have to put in the time, you have to have that emotional roller coaster, the ups, the downs, the successes, the fails. That's how it is, and it's how you build something amazing at the end of the day.
Yeah. There's this, it's not a myth, it's an actual fact that you've put about 10,000 hours in and then you become an expert in your field. Do you think you
Yeah.
are in that you've put in, because I can see the books behind you. I can see that you're heavily into education, and I don't actually know one or successful entrepreneur that does not educate on a daily basis. So how many hours do you dedicate to educating yourself and upskilling yourself on a weekly basis?
On a weekly basis, I would say 4 to 5 hours
Yeah.
minimum.
Minimum,
So I'll
yes.
have a couple of audiobooks that I'm reading at the time. If there's a book that may be of importance, maybe if it
Yes.
directly tackles a gap that we have in our agency or in our business, then that might get prioritization over some other books that are for entrepreneurs, but maybe about mindset
Yes.
or productivity, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Try to do about 4 hours a week minimum.
Yes.
That was the bottom line goal. Typically, I hit it plus more. Some weeks
Yes.
are better than others, but of course, always be growing, right?
Yeah.
Always trying to be learning something new.
Mindset is quite a big thing in entrepreneurship because it can literally make or break your business, right? Did you find that you had to have a bit of a mind shift when you started your web company?
Into marketing itself,
Yes.
thankfully, we're in the marketing niche, so
That's
it
true.
wasn't that challenging. But at the
Yeah.
same time, SEO is a very technical, data-driven marketing vertical compared to other marketing verticals like even copywriting and funneling and conversion optimization, email marketing. SEOs tend to be very technical with their information. And even our first reiterations of our website and our branding was all just super technical, and non-SEOs, like our active clients and our ideal clients are marketers themselves, in-house marketers of our brands.
Yeah.
They just didn't understand because they didn't really understand SEO, which is why they were coming to us. But we were talking about all the nitty gritty moving pieces in SEO, and it just made no sense.
Yes.
But in due time, I was able to learn a bit more about messaging, about branding, more so than just having a logo. Having a voice of the company was the big game changer.
Yes.
And that actually just happened in probably the last year and a half, 2 years. And it's still improving.
Well, I had a look at your website in the last couple of weeks because obviously I have to stalk you before I interview you. It's like how I roll, and your website is really, really nice. It's it's not as techy as you would expect it to be. When you interview a tech person, right? Do you find that storytelling has helped you in your business too? Because it's very different to tell stories when you're in a techie world, right?
I appreciate that. That's our goal, is to tell a story and show, and in marketing in general, the goal should be to showcase a transformation. With our website, we have great copywriters, great designers, great developers that made it all happen. There's some books by Donald Miller, like Building a Story Brand. I have an agency mentor who helped craft our messaging. And that's the idea. Even when we're pitching a proposal, we don't want it to be just a sales deck, but actually showcase a story and the transformation of what happens when you work with us. Before, here's this issue. It sucks. But after working with us, here's this awesomeness that happens, and it's rocks. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's cool. I love that book. It's behind me as well. I've actually recommended it to my students as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of the best books, right? What has been your most favorite book?
Honestly, it's probably the least sexiest book. You know, from an entrepreneurship perspective, Profit First has been a game changer.
Okay.
By Microcalories, in which the longest time, you know, when we do our P&L statements and profit and loss statements around tax season, and this shows the number of profit in that line item, but like you wonder, where's that money? I have no idea where that money is, and it's definitely not in my pocket. So where did it go? Profit First was a really good system for financials, about making sure that at the end of the day, you're able to, if your P&L statement shows profit of 50,000 as an example, you know where it is. It's in your bank accounts. So that is a good one as well. And I think on the other side of things, Gino Wickman, Traction, is a great book, The Entrepreneurial Operating System.
Yes. Oh, I must get my hands onto that one. Oh, I like that. That's awesome. What has been your biggest contribution to your success?
Time and understanding that I'm not the smartest guy in my industry as well as in my company.
Okay.
So I think, you know, I'm a solo founder. It's a lot harder as a solo founder when you can't necessarily bounce ideas off of, especially if you're like a mad scientist in a way. You come up with these all weird, crazy ideas that maybe 1 out of 10 are decent ideas. Having people in your company voice their opinions and get feedback and have a say, doesn't matter what level of the totem pole they might be in. That I think has been really, really grateful. And I get to hear just other perspectives on what's working, what's not, what's a good idea, or what's a waste of time. Because again, we all spend too much time sometimes on things that are A, never get into fruition, and B, just a sucky idea.
But I think, again, if you have this idea as an entrepreneur, like, oh, this is the best idea ever, and then you put it into work and like, well, this sucks.
Or you go to sleep and you wake up in the morning and you're like, what was wrong with you yesterday?
I've had that too. So I completely relate with you. It is so true. Okay. So you've obviously done this since 2012. And, you know, as we know, like we've talked about the ups and the downs, but it also happens financially, you know, growing and scaling. And this season of my podcast is specifically on growing and scaling. Do you have like a basic blueprint that you can share with the audience, how you actually scaled your business?
Yeah, financially, Profit First, that system, it's a great book, Microcalories, and it's a very easy system on making sure that certain percentages of revenue coming in go to certain places, operational expenses, payroll, taxes, owner's distribution, which of course is the reason why we all get into this and start businesses to begin with, to make sure that we're getting our money. From a financial standpoint, that has been a really good one.
Okay, I like that. And so okay, so also the show, like I mentioned, is for people going behind the scenes to understand what makes them successful. And some people that listen to the show, they haven't really started a business, or they're just a little bit stuck. What advice would you have for somebody that is in that position? They're stuck or they just haven't really started. What advice would you have for somebody like that?
Find a mentor, find the gaps, find the issues, and fix them. He actually has a new book. I don't mean to keep plugging Mike Michalowicz, but he has a book.
We all have to get this book.
Fix This Next. Get his various different books. I have like 3 or 4 of his books already. It's called Fix This Next, where it helps you dissect all the different areas in your business that might be preventing you from growth. I think getting an agency mentor, someone who has a third-party grand view of everything, was a game changer for me in figuring out what was next.
Are you enjoying this episode so far? Please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. I love interviewing successful people. We learn so much from them. And I want you to become successful in your entrepreneurial journey too. So don't forget, hit that subscribe button, share this video with other people that need the inspiration from successful people. I'll see you in the next part of this video.
I thought I had good branding, good messaging, a good market differentiator amongst my SEO competitors. And then I got a nice swift kick in the butt and realized I didn't, and that helped me craft messaging. It helped me create a system of predictable revenue, of referrals, of lead generation, inbound marketing, content. So the agency mentor is a big one.
Yes. I don't know. I cannot do anything without a mentor. And I think as entrepreneurs, you the first couple of years, you're like, yeah, I've got this, I can do this. And then you actually realize in like a year and a half into your journey, you're like, well, I actually need somebody, or this is just going to take me 400 years to get there. So yeah, definitely agree with you. Behind me, I've got hashtag goals. It's a bit of a private joke between me and my students. So I coach businesses one-on-one, or I used to now. I've got group coaching in marketing, helping them, because I actually have a marketing agency. This is my podcast, is my fun thing, right? So with hashtag goals, we always talk about how to achieve goals and the importance of goal setting, etc. What is your method of goal setting?
The entrepreneurial operating system, Traction, has been really good for creating project rocks and quarterly goals, which has been nice. It's a very big formula, a very big model. That's been one. Even on a simpler form, I have a corkboard right over there with things that I want to achieve in the short term and the long term. And, there is something to be said about just looking at the same thing every single day, reminding yourself what you're looking for. Maybe it's a vision board of sorts. I wouldn't consider it a vision board, but, just having that goal right there, looking back at you every single day, so that if you feel like just putting your feet up one day and just relaxing, taking it easy, and then you look over and it's like staring right back at you and judging you for having a lazy day. Hopefully the next day at least is a bit more productive. We all have lazy days, of course, but there to remind you of what you're doing.
Yeah, I do like that. It's like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be working on me today. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe like a graphic or a design to make it look like it's judging you for not hitting your goals. I don't know what that would look like, but
that's so funny. So what is your guys' mission at the moment? So obviously you've got a very established company, and I'm assuming you do very well, by the looks of it, you do. So what is your vision in the next 5 years for your company?
we don't want to be a conglomerate. We offer a very personalized service. SEO should be personalized. Unfortunately, traditionally, it hasn't been a personalized service. It's been maybe not productized, but not as informative as it could have been, and communicative in a way. So we want to keep it like that. We don't want to expand to a heavy headcount. Right now, we're nice and lean at about 15 people. I think I say this now, who knows what would happen in 5 years, but in my eyes right now, probably 25, 30 people, keeping it nice and lean, very, very personal, making sure we've been remote since the beginning anyways. So making sure that people can go out and our team members can go out and do what they love to do, personal hobbies, while also making a difference, helping brands get some visibility, really awesome brands get some visibility online. So.
Yes. That's really cool. I like that. And I like the fact that you look after your staff and your team members, so they actually have that flexibility to, not just sit in front of a desk for 8 hours a day, not looking after themselves.
Yeah, in the month of June, we tested it out and everyone's very happy with it. Half day Fridays for the month of June. We've been doing it and everyone's been loving it.
Nice.
Probably gonna do it again next year.
Yeah, that is really, really cool. That actually makes a difference because you have to have something to look forward to.
Yeah, and actually productivity during the week has increased because that things have to get done before that Friday. The workload and efficiency is a little bit higher during the week.
Yes. Structure and routine is quite big in businesses. Do you guys have a set structure and routine every day?
In terms of order of workflow?
Correct, yes.
It's very flexible depending on the person. Some people like to just dive right into work almost immediately. And deal with emails maybe an hour or two later, deal with project management an hour or two later, especially if they know what they need to do. Others, I'm a guy that just goes through all the distractions early on. So I'll try to get emails, social media stuff all out of the way as early as possible, and then dive into the work. So for me personally, once I'm locked in, I'm locked in. So I want to keep it like that. It's very flexible. At the end of the day, we care more about the output. On a daily basis and hitting deadlines, of course, through our project management systems. As long as all of that is taken care of, there is no specific structure per se on how the workday should flow. It's very different. And we do a lot of course, communications on one-on-ones with our team members. And we do ask these questions. Do you feel efficient? Do you think there's anything that you can improve upon? And we try to talk through it. And sometimes I may not give the best recommendations if I'm leading that one-on-one, but it's another point of view that they can consider when it comes to productivity.
Yeah, that's actually very good that you guys do that, because that's very important, to get your staff. And that's how they keep engaged and stay with the company, and they feel valued, right? Because you care about how they actually act every day or be every day.
Yeah, that's a really important question. We ask first. I ask, is there anything that I can do differently
Yes.
to help you with what you need, both professionally, personally, whatever it might be, tying in with those goals. And then we ask, is there anything that you feel you can do a little bit differently?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, especially when it comes to like quarterly performance reviews and such, they actually are our employees and team members are their own grader. They
Yes.
fill out the questionnaire themselves. They grade themselves on a scale, different sliding scales. So
Yeah.
it's very, very interesting. It's a very different, unique approach as opposed to that interrogative style of
Yes.
a performance review.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like you have to sit down, you have to do just 20,000 things a day or a year, or yeah, I get that. Avatar is very important. You as a marketer would know this firsthand, that your avatar is very, very important. How long has it taken you guys to nail down your avatar, to say this is the client that I'm serving?
Took us about 6 months. I actually, we're not even joking. We have a Notion page that's
Yes.
dedicated to our client avatar, and I'll actually pull it up and I can read just very vaguely
Yeah, that
what
would
would
be
be on it.
amazing. Yeah. I
But
geek out
it
about
took
these
us
things.
a while. Things like building a story brand helped
Yes.
tremendously. Things like digitalmarketer.com and some of their perpetual traffic systems and their avatar
Yes.
before and after building. So we have hers name as Marketing Maya, as you would typically have in
Awesome.
a um, a persona.
Yes.
32 plus years old, female, married, maybe 1 to 2 young children, maybe a small pet. Marketing department of a small to medium sized business with at least 1 million in annual recurring revenue. Marketing director, and then we start talking about the villain. SEO and Google is the villain because it's just so confusing, and Google's always changing those things up. We talk about the goals, the values. We actually interviewed almost all of our clients and who are in-house marketers about their sources of information, what blogs they read, what influencers do they
Yep.
follow, what would be their objections in the sales process. And then, of course, the traditional before and after grid. What
Yes.
issues do they have before? How do they feel? What's their average day like? What's their status in
Yes.
life? And the same thing afterwards.
Yeah.
It's a huge document. I'm like skimming through it, but it took us working with my mentor directly, as well as
Yes.
speaking to team members, interviewing clients,
Yes.
to really hone in
Yes.
on our client avatar.
Yes. And it's so important. So I've got this coaching program where I group coach small businesses. My target market is small businesses. So her name is Liz, and she's between 33 and 37 years old. But yes, I've got exactly that. And for some reason, I don't always get my students to just focus on the avatar first. I've got like a very small percentage of my students that actually has honed down on the avatar and went through the whole thing and the interviews and all of that. Do you find it was a bit of and I guess I'm asking on behalf of them, because sometimes it's nice to hear it from somebody else and not just the person that's trying to teach you, right? But did you find it a little bit more trickier to speak to your existing clients when it came to these things?
At first, I thought it would be,
Yes.
but we have a great relationship with our clients. We speak to
Yes.
them all the time, and
Yes.
our goal, especially on the account side of things, is to really build a lot of rapport. Especially when it comes to holiday time, we can try to give a bit more personalized gifts
Yeah.
to our points of contact. So I was a little bit nervous, but almost everyone was willing to communicate and just share information.
Yes.
It wasn't that big of a deal, but it also has been so worth it. Just taking
Yes.
that risk and asking clients and asking even just marketing. I've reached out to a couple people on LinkedIn, people
Yes.
that we would love as clients, probably not the right fit, or we're probably not the right fit for them, or vice versa, or maybe they're working with another agency or a
Yeah.
conflict of interest, and interviewed them as well. Like, hey, I'm not going to tell you anything. I just have 4 questions because we want to hone in on the mentality of a marketer.
Yes. That's awesome though.
And yeah, I mean, like when our copywriter, whenever like we're building out a couple of new pages and stuff, as we're niching down and more specific to our services,
Yeah.
he loves it because I just hand him this doc and he has everything he needs: the pain points, the issues, the emotional drive that our clients will have, and what they're looking for. Copywriters love it.
Yes. And it's exactly that, because we build funnels. And it's when you have that, we had the one client that we had not so long ago, the conversion rate on the funnel was 38%, which is pretty impressive, right? And it's only because we knew exactly the pain points and the struggles that this client were facing. And you just do your marketing messaging around that. And obviously you would find that your conversion is also better, right? When you talk to these things.
Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely does. Yeah. Guys, understand and know your avatar. It is the best. And I think even the most affordable thing that you can do for yourself and your business, because you don't have to spend too much money on ads and things, right?
Yeah. I
Or
mean,
target
we
them more
have
correct. Yes.
like Break the Web, as well as my first site, SEO
Yeah.
servicesnneyork.org,
Yeah.
both have headlines that are targeting directly the pain points of our client avatar. I think
Yes.
SEO Services New York is meet the SEO agency that'll give you traffic and leads instead of excuses.
That's
Which is hitting a
brilliant.
lot of different emotional buttons.
Yeah.
Hat tip to Joel Klecki on that one. He's a great copywriter. And even now, we have a bit more of a complex one, a headline on Break the Web, which is something along the lines of solve the SEO riddle once and for all, because SEO is confusing. You read a blog, but like, what are all these different moving parts and what do these things
Exactly.
means? And then algorithms and then Google and yeah.
Yeah. So keywords also a big part of SEO? Because I'm a tech weenie, by the way. Yes, I run an agency, but at least I know that stuff. But when it comes to this type of things, I'm like, what is it about? So if you do keywords and SEO, how did that fit into each other?
Yeah, keyword research would
Yeah.
typically be the starting point of an SEO campaign and building an SEO strategy. And the purpose is just to understand what's out there, what opportunities exist. SEO has shifted a little bit over the years to be less about specific keywords, but more so about the total addressable market. What is the entire market out there for a given service, product, question, whatever it might be at the different stages of the funnel? And that's, well, we still do keyword research. We still provide keyword research. We even track keywords with our clients. But again, more so it's not the biggest KPI, keyword improvements.
Yeah.
But when you do understand what people are typing into Google and what the intent is behind a search query, allows you to optimize and hone a strategy to tackle that specific search query, which might also have dozens upon dozens of other related search queries that give the exact same results. So that's where we do incorporate keywords, especially as a starting point.
Yes, I do like that. And pay-per-click, how does that fit into all of the SEO stuff?
No direct correlation.
Okay.
There might be indirect benefits like better engagement. Let's say somebody likes one of your ads that leads to a content piece and then they link to it.
Yeah.
That can help SEO. So no direct effects, but there's a plethora of ways that it might indirectly help.
Yes, I like that. Okay, makes sense. For non-tech or for a tech weenie, that makes sense. That's awesome. Jason, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Where can people reach you if they need anything SEO, if you potentially want to have them as a client? Where can they reach you?
You can Google Break the Web, breaktheweb.agency. You can Google Jason Berkowitz, or find me on LinkedIn.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And I think you've just shared so much knowledge with the audience, and I really appreciate your time. And this has been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joy.
Cheers.